Hey guys, welcome back to the OBEE, the out-of-body experience experiment. I am your host and your scientist for this experiment, Ryan Stanley. Today is day 15. That's right, the start of week 3 of the out-of-body experience experiment. I've got a couple different things to report, or at least note. First one is that I've been kind of following, the guidance of this gentleman, William Buhlman, who wrote this book. I forget the name of the book, but it's in the comments below. And he talks about doing it every day for 3 weeks before he finally had his first out-of-body experience. So week 3, we've got some expectations, and I'll touch on expectations in a minute, but some expectations, valid or not, because everybody's different. I think in the book, he really just says, hey, give it 60 days. So that is the minimum. That's when we set out on this quest. When we started this experiment, we said 60 days. And so 3 weeks or not, we are definitely going in at least 60 days, and we'll see where we are in the grand scheme of things from there. Secondly, the other thing to point out is I do have some headway. So last night, I don't know if you saw day 14, but I decided that I was going to go back to some binaural beats. I found one randomly. It was a 7-hour binaural beats video on YouTube. I listened to about an hour of it while I was sleeping, while I was going to bed, kind of in and out. I did not have an out-of-body experience, so we're still there. Obviously, I think it probably would have been the first thing I said, I'm sure. That being said, I did not have an out-of-body experience. I did not have any lucid dreams. My son woke up sick. I have a 7-year-old. I mentioned my 10-year-old before. My 7-year-old now woke up last night around 3:30 in the morning, not feeling well. And so we were up with him for a little bit. Eventually, he ended up joining us in bed. And so sometimes it's just easier for me to move to the guest room at that point. So I went to the guest room to give him and my wife room to snuggle and sleep and rest. And I thought this would also be a good opportunity to try some out-of-body experience, action, activity, visualization, mantra in a different room, because sometimes he mentions that in the book. And so I went in there, and I obviously did not have the out-of-body experience, but I did wake up, or, I kind of would wake up a couple different times. Obviously, as the kids are waking up and making noise throughout the house, I was in and out of sleep. And I did have a dream space where I was kind of asleep and I heard somebody call my name. It was a woman's voice, and it was not my wife. It was not, someone actually physically in this dimension calling my name. It was a dream of some sort, but I was kind of in between dream and sleep, or consciousness and sleep. And I heard another, almost like a recording of a track, almost like a voicemail. And I can't recall exactly what it said, but then it ended with like a pause, and then it was almost like a second quote unquote voicemail, and it just said Ryan. And then I was so excited because I'm waiting for this to occur that it woke me up. I woke up like, oh, is this it? But it wasn't. But who knows? It was me, I believe, based on the information that I've read, based on the research that I've done. I feel like I'm getting closer. I feel like I'm knocking on the door, and there are people answering. There is something answering. So day 15, 3 weeks in, I'm getting the call perhaps. So we will see how this continues to unfold. But I touched on expectations earlier, and I do just want to say that expectations, one of the biggest lessons that I've learned in life is not to have expectations. Not to have expectations of others, not to have expectations. There's a difference between being aware and having standards for the way you live your life and leading your life based on expectations of others. If we don't have expectations of others, we can never, ever be disappointed. So there's in this space of, okay, now we're coming up on 3 weeks. At some point, I'm expecting to have an out-of-body experience, but I'm not sure when or how it's going to fall into place. And so I'm not necessarily expecting one, but at the same time, as I'm thinking out loud, there is this line of what you talked about. I mean, when I go to bed and I'm doing my visualizations and I'm doing my mantras, I am expecting to have it at that point. But not so much so that I'm disappointed the next day when it doesn't occur, or if it doesn't occur. So just as an overall philosophy that I thought I'd share, if you're watching along in this video, you're watching along in this experiment, I'm just pointing, I like to just throw in some bonus content every once in a while. So the bonus content is be aware of expectations of others and how that is guiding your life, and how when we let go of expectations of others or situations and instead just look for the lesson in every scenario that we find ourselves in, the more at peace and intentional we will be living our life. That's all I have for today. Thank you again for following along on the out-of-body experiment, the out-of-body experience experiment. We will see you tomorrow for day 16 and the continued start of week number 3. I appreciate your awesomeness, and I will see you on the other side. Thanks for being you.